drop the price, more like drop the cheaper model of the Steam Deck. So now there's only a $550 to $650 model out there. What happened, Gaben? You holding out on us when it comes to consumer-friendly tactics? No, I'm just joking. Obviously, Steam has a lot of consumer-friendly stuff, but that one wasn't quite so consumer-friendly. But to be honest, there's not a lot of consumer-friendly stuff that's been happening recently because there is a huge RAM squeeze. There is a components squeeze. There is an inflation, tariff, and all sorts of stuff squeeze that is just wringing people dry overall. There is a lot of stuff that is happening, and I want to talk about this and the more of like lack thereof from some people, especially considering what happened last year with the Nintendo Switch 2, positive and negative, which you know we will get into both of them. But we also have to get into you, yes, you, potentially winning a Nintendo Switch 2 or a $50 eShop card. We have a giveaway. All you got to do to enter is subscribe to the channel if you're someone new. And if you're already subscribed, go ahead and comment down below on why you should drop the price. No, I'm joking. Just comment down below on anything after you watch this video overall. We're giving away the $50 eShop card at the end of this month. We're giving away the Nintendo Switch 2 once we hit 150,000 subscribers. And we've already got a bunch of people subscribing. So subscribe if you like awesome Nintendo Switch 2, RPG content, and a little bit of whatever this type of video is. Anyway, okay, getting back to it, all right, let's talk about this because the whole drop the price movement seems to be losing momentum. I don't know. I guess based off of what people like, and really PC gaming, really that's what people are online when it comes down to it. But I'm looking at different things here. $550 to $650 for a Steam Deck now at this point. That is considerably more expensive than the $400 model that they have. And they pretty much just discontinued it. It's out of stock. It's seemingly not coming back at this point. Now, point me in the direction if I'm wrong, but I have seen next to nothing on Valve is greedy or drop the price videos when it comes to Steam Deck. I don't know. $550 to $650 for a system that does not come with cables for HDMI, for hookups or anything, does not come with a dock either, and is weaker than the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, yes, it's a nice piece of kit. Obviously, you've got the OLED screen, you've got the power of the Steam OS, you've got the PC gaming, you've got emulation, you've got all sorts of stuff. So sure, it can be worth it for a lot of people, but I had a lot of people coming into my stream and I had a lot of people reacting to some of the content that I talk about how you can get a $400 Steam Deck and that's a better value. Well, that is gone now, and those same people seem to not be talking about that being an anti-consumer type of thing. So that's interesting, but I don't even think Valve is really the real problem here. I think they've done a pretty good job overall when it comes down to that. There are worse offenders with this because I'm looking at it all across the board. Look at what happened recently when it comes to the Lenovo Legion Go. That is $1,200 for that system. Lenovo Legion Go 2, which the first one just came out a little bit ago. So if you bought that one, you know, I guess trade it in, sell it, whatever, right? But they're coming out with these portable PCs so fast and they're jumping up in price so high. I saw, who was it? I think it was Digital Foundry. They made a video on like a $2,000 GPD win. Like, oh my God, this is incredible. It has like an external battery. It's like a portable PS5 in your hand. Yeah, but it's like $2,000, you know, overall. But Digital Foundry is not a problem either. I just wanted to point that out, that this stuff is getting crazy. And I am not seeing the drop the price videos from the PC crowd when it comes to this. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some people that are putting videos out there and saying some things, but it is not as widespread and it is not as crazy as we saw some people last year with the Nintendo Switch 2. So I just wanted to point that out. It is a observation, at least, that I am seeing here. And I follow a lot of different people, and I do not see it from a lot of these PC people out there. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is how this all kind of ties back to Nintendo and kind of what they're doing for 2026. I think this is one of the most crucial years in Nintendo's history. I'm still figuring out what I'm going to title this, guys. One of those two. Crucial years, drop the price. One of them. Both of them. Crucially dropping the price. No, but this is one of the most crucial years in Nintendo's history because they have to make sure that they come out swinging in 2026 at the Nintendo Directs. Holiday in some areas maybe wasn't as quite as good as maybe they would have wanted. Obviously, Japan, some areas was great overall. And yes, Switch 2 is doing good. Don't believe the clickbait. Nintendo is going to give us the sales numbers in February. We're going to get those. It's the same type of videos that we saw before Nintendo announced 10 million. Then all of a sudden people started talking about how Nintendo's forcing retailers to buy units and shipped versus sold. So they're going to get humbled once again. So we'll wait for that. But the biggest thing here when it comes down to a system is long-term games. That is what's important. It's not about 1 week in November or 1 December or the first 6 months or whatever. All that stuff adds into it. But over the course of a generation, what do you do to build true value for your system over that? A lot of these people don't understand that because they just started talking about sales numbers in order to get clickbait on YouTube to make money. That's really it. They didn't talk about sales in the Switch 1 era. They didn't talk about PlayStation or Xbox sales. They don't even care. They just know that clickbaiting Nintendo sales is going to get you a lot of views overall. So that's why they're doing it. Not because they actually have analysis and study what happened before in the past or even care. It's just about what can I get right now for it. Now, take it from me, somebody who's been looking at sales numbers for a long time. Looking at sales numbers since the Wii era back then and kind of seeing the Japanese sales and the US sales and all sorts of stuff. So here's how it works. Over the course of a generation, that is going to be the key to how the system does. What games do you have to help push the system? You're going to need games. You're going to need good marketing. You're going to need good gimmicks. You're going to need all sorts of stuff that gets people excited to buy the hardware. And this year, that's what's super important. But I also think that Nintendo has so many things working against them that's not so good that I feel is expensive. You've got $90 to $100 controllers. They just announced a new color scheme. Those are $100 controllers, which we did know about, but still, the tariff situation, the fact that the chips that they use for a lot of this stuff, the parts, manufacturing, is expensive, plus actually paying the people that do it. I wish it was a bit cheaper overall. It used to be a lot cheaper back in the day. Stuff's way more expensive. If you're looking at the games, this is where I think that Nintendo should definitely pull back a little bit. If there's an area that they can pull back, it would be this right here. Yes, $70 games. Don't like to see the MSRP jump for Nintendo first-party games, at least the standard price for a lot of them. But the $80 Nintendo Switch 2 editions, I think those don't need to be a thing anymore. Now, we're seeing with Animal Crossing, that one is $5 for the Nintendo Switch 2 edition if you want that upgrade, or if you want it, it's $65. So I'm hoping that it's more of something like that. If you're going to charge for those Switch 2 editions, don't let it be $80. I think that just looks bad on the box, even though you can get the physical Switch 1 version, then upgrade it there, and it's not going to be as much. It just looks bad. And of course, Mario Kart World, that needs to just go down. I think Nintendo, just put that down. Don't have that be a negative thing hanging over the system for the course of the generation. So go ahead and put that down. Although I do think that the Mario Kart World bundle, even though you can still find it, it's still in abundance, it is going to go away when the supplies run out. So it should go away, but I do think it's going to come back during the holidays. So I think these are the things that Nintendo can do, like short term, like with the pricing with Mario Kart World, the pricing with some of this other stuff with Switch 2 editions, make that more affordable. That's not going to make or break the business overall. So I hope Nintendo does that. That is a criticism that I feel needs to be addressed like right away, especially at this next investor meeting, maybe for the new fiscal year coming up. Do whatever you need to do, but we don't need $80 games hanging over this system. Everything's already expensive as it is. Now, another thing, in my opinion, I think that maybe it's like the saving grace when it comes down to it, is NSO is okay. NSO is doing pretty good because NSO, you get that for 20 or you get that for 50 and you get a nice collection of games, all with save states and all with online play, multiplayer that you can play with your friends. So that's actually pretty good. It's upward of what, like $1 something per month, or like $4 per month for the NSO expansion plus. And they just added Fire Emblem, which is great as well. So I think that all of these things are key overall when it comes to Nintendo and how they're going to be able to keep selling systems when it comes down to it. But the games, making sure that you have, which I talked about in a recent video, big 3D Mario, obviously Gen 10 Pokemon, Super Smash Brothers, Animal Crossing, a brand new Animal Crossing game, Splatoon, big brand new Splatoon game, new 2D Mario games, things like that. All of those type of titles help push systems, help push system sales. We still need a brand new Mario Party built specifically for the Nintendo Switch 2. So there's a number of things that Nintendo can definitely do to help the system over the course of a generation. Not just looking at it from 1 month or something like that, but over the course of the whole generation, getting a lot of these big system seller S-tier type of games out overall. And the Nintendo Directs. Nintendo Directs are the best marketing thing ever, I would say, in video gaming, in modern history. If you want to talk about what is the best marketing tool ever for any company that they've done to really sell more systems and do better, it's the Nintendo Directs. Pretty much everybody has copied the Nintendo Directs in some way, shape, or form. It completely transformed marketing in the industry, and Nintendo's Directs at this point, they've got it down to a science. The pacing is well done, they have a lot of games, and there's usually something here or there you'll find that, like, okay, I'm gonna try that out, or I didn't know about that game, or it's set up in a type of way that's kind of a nice reveal. Like for me, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave was an incredible type of reveal for the Nintendo Direct, and I think a lot of people who've never played a Fire Emblem game saw that and was like, okay, well, maybe I'll give that a chance. I've heard about Fire Emblem. It's a good franchise. It reviews well, so maybe I'll try that one out. So I think Nintendo Directs have been great. Keep on with those. But I want to talk about something else because I find this one to be interesting. Kind of goes back to the portable PC thing and some of the other stuff there. There was an article from IGN, which I've talked about this before, but there was the article that said that portable PCs, they're in the way, right? Portable PCs, they have to deal with them. Nintendo has to deal with the portable PC market. And they talked about the ROG Ally. They talked about how there's stronger systems coming up. And there has been zero updates to that article. Maybe because the systems that are coming out are a grand plus. You can probably also say that all follow-up articles when it comes down to this was probably canceled after the Nintendo Switch 2 sold 3.5 million in like 3 days. Then they sold 10 million plus in about 4 months. I'm pretty sure that the writer of the IGN article was like, all right, I'm out, dipping, not coming back. All right, had my fun, I'm out of here. Because obviously that smokes what portable PCs have done at this point, which we'll get into. And those systems have zero sales numbers. They are not talking about them. I would think that if the ROG Ally X, the ROG Ally, the new one, the Xbox ROG Ally, all of these different systems that were coming out, if they were doing well, especially over the holiday where people surely wanted to talk about Nintendo Switch 2 sales, you would think that there would be something on some of these portable PCs, or there'd be something with them talking about them. Absolutely nothing. It's been quiet. It's been silent. There's like, you can like hear a pin drop when it comes to that article and when it comes to certain people saying things. Now, obviously, most people out there, consumers, people, gamers, already knew that that was nonsense, right? Nobody actually thought that when it comes to most people. But the clickbait stuff, I get it. I get the reason why. But it's funny because there were some people that would come into my stream, or I'd see sometimes that they'd say, oh, portable PCs are here. People are going to buy those instead. We've gotten no sales updates. We've gotten zero. They've been quiet. There's been nothing at this point. So I think that if those were actually doing well, if those were actually something that would interfere, I think that we would have heard about something when it comes to sales numbers. But we've got nothing at this point. All we got was earlier last year was like, hey, there's about 6 million units sold for portable PCs, and Steam Deck has about half of those. So that's actually pretty bad when it comes down to it. So I think that the squeeze when it comes to the price of these systems and when it comes to the versatility, yes, it's there, but the price is just too high. People aren't buying these. They're getting rid of the cheaper models. So right now, if you look at it, the Nintendo Switch 2 has a pretty good advantage in that pricing market. So that's why I feel that it's really important that Nintendo holds steady. They hold steady at the $450 price tag. Hold steady at that. Maybe do some different bundles. You got Mario Day coming up. You probably got a Pokemon bundle that you're going to be doing because they did Pokemon Legends ZA. So you probably have like a themed Gen 10 Pokemon bundle. Get the new bundles out. Do that at 500. I don't want to see those go above 500 just because they're themed. If they are themed, because we haven't gotten one yet when it comes to the Switch 2 system by itself, like with the dock and everything. But just do it at 500. I know it's probably going to be above it, but I'd like to see it at just 500, 450 for the base model. You do that, and you do some of the other stuff that I said when it comes to keeping the awesome pacing with the Nintendo Directs, the big reveals overall, holding to the price of the system and everything. Because like I said, the other stuff around it is expensive. The controllers, the games, $70 a pop for even some of the spin-off stuff, like Mario Tennis. I saw people talking about that. Saw people talking about Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. That shouldn't be 70, and I completely understand. A lot of pricing stuff. It's expensive for a lot of this stuff. Most expensive generation to start out for Nintendo. Definitely the highest quality that Nintendo's ever had when it comes to graphical fidelity and features and all of that, but definitely expensive. So I think it's super important that Nintendo holds steady on that 450. If they do all that, plus maybe a Monolith Soft reveal, Splatoon Raiders, Dustbloods comes out, and that's good when it comes to a FromSoft exclusive, I think that completely buries it in terms of any type of article like that ever popping up again from IGN, because I just don't see it keeping up sales-wise and all that, because the Switch 2 is definitely going to be continuing to sell really good. And to be honest, I think the Switch 1 probably is destroying them in sales too at this point. We don't have full sales numbers for Switch 1 outside of what Nintendo's reported, and we don't have the holiday yet. We're going to get those overall, but I think even the Switch 1 is completely disjointed in terms of just this year. Obviously, we know overall, like, Switch 1 is the second best-selling system of all time. It's already passed up the Nintendo DS from Nintendo, so we'll get the official word on that in February. But yeah, I think even for the lowered sales of the Switch 1, considering Switch 2's out and everything, I think that's even kind of smoking easily the portable PC market at this point. But also the Steam machine. People are talking about that could be potentially $900 to $1,000. And we have gotten a little bit of indication that they're not going to price this system like a console. Apparently, Valve was like, what? You want it to be priced like a console? Like when one of the YouTubers or content creators went there to talk to them about it. I think it was like Linus Tech Tips or something like that. So even that was like, wait a minute, hold up. You think it's going to be that price considering the prices of RAM and component costs and all that? We're not trying to lose the yacht over here. Gaben's like, hold up. I'm trying to get another one of these this year. We can't be losing money on each unit sold. But no, I'm joking with that. But he does have a nice super yacht. But either way, when it comes to that, like even that's something that people were trying to say, oh, that can be a huge competitor, but not if it's going to be $1,000. Now, once again, the source for that is a bit kind of like, I'm not so sure about that because the source for it just seems weird, like a check backhanded retailer, whatever, through like the source code or something. That seems weird. So I don't know if it's going to be 950 to 1,070 or something like that. That's where some of the prices they're trying to convert over and all that is looking at. But I do think that it's not going to be like $500 or $400. Some people were thinking it might be that. I don't think it's going to be $500 or $400. I think minimum, you're looking at $600 to $700 minimum for this Steam machine type of device. Minimum. 600 to 700 and maybe even more overall, because if you're gonna buy a PC that's as powerful as one of those, that's gonna cost you at least what, $1,000 or so, right? Or that's gonna cost you a lot for a PC that's that powerful, for like a mid-range type of PC. So yeah, I don't think that thing's gonna be cheap. So that's probably not gonna compete with Switch 2 or PS5 either. So what do you guys think when it comes to everything that we talked about here? I know it was a lot, kind of a little bit over the place, but I just wanted to get my thoughts out when it comes to it. And I will give maybe an updated thought on the whole Steam Deck situation that I had to a video that I had before. Maybe I'll talk about that in a separate one. I do want to discuss that a little bit more. Now that Switch 2's been out for a bit, maybe we'll do it on the anniversary of that video. The anniversary is coming up pretty soon here in April, so maybe we'll do it then. But what do you guys think? Let me know. Enter my giveaway. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you comment down below. And of course, notification bell. Hit the notification so you know when I have random ramblings like this for you to listen to. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Check out my other videos. I have other videos like this where I just talk about stuff when it comes to Switch 2 or RPGs. They're going to be right here on the screen. Once again, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you for the next one. Peace out.